there, class. This is going to be Science Hour with Mrs. Finch. It's not a full hour, but I am also going to incorporate a book on the subject so we can get some reading into our lesson as well. Today's lesson is going to be on flight. We are going to learn about the 4 basic things that we need to fly an airplane. So I've drawn a rough sketch how do airplanes fly. So we need 4 things. First, we need thrust. That is the energy it takes to push something through the air. Think of it like when you're playing catch with a friend. Your energy that you use in your arm to throw the ball is the thrust. Then you have lift. Lift is what keeps things going up. Gravity, since we're on Earth, we have gravity pulling us down. So you're going to need a source of lift, and that is going to be created by an engine. So think of it like when you are jumping to make a basketball. You need to push yourself up against gravity to provide that lift so that you can go ahead and thrust that basketball into the hoop. The other thing you need is drag. That's a little more complicated. We will talk about drag when we get further into our experiment. Then, of course, we already spoke a little bit about gravity. That is the energy that keeps us all on the Earth. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is read a story about flight. And it is a very old story, one I've read to my class once before. And it's called The Glorious Flight Across the Channel with Louis Blériot. There's a lot of French names in here. I don't speak French, so bear with me. I will do my best to pronounce them. It all began one morning. Mr. Louis Blériot, his oldest daughter, Alceste, his daughter of 4 years, Charmaine, his third daughter, Suzette, his son, Jeannot, their mama, Alice, and the baby, Gabrielle, also the cat, Minot, their little dog, Arsene, and the big cockatoo, Chloe, have just had their breakfast. Sounds like a big family. This year is 1901. So let's think about how long ago we started looking at flying airplanes. So 1901. The place is the city of Chambray in France. So here is their table, and they're all there eating. It is a beautiful day. The sun is shining. Papa Blériot and all of his family, except Minot, the cat, and Chloe, the cockatoo, are going for a ride in their shiny new car. As they roll up the street, they hear, far above in the sky, a strange sound. Clacketa, clacketa, clacketa. Hark, says Papa Blériot. He does not look where he is going. Just ahead on the narrow street is the wagon of Alphonse Jouvet, full of pumpkins, also his son César, and many cabbages. Crump goes the car into the cart of Alphonse Jouvet. The strange sound from the air is forgotten. Papa Blériot was driving very slowly, but even so the cart is on its side. Pumpkins all over. No one is hurt, but there are bruised cabbages and angry faces. Fists are raised. The policeman, Achille Duval, poises his pencil when there's the mess in the marketplace. Clacketa, 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 clacketa. Out of the clouds, right over their heads, soars a great white airship, and a man is sitting in a basket, driving it through the air. What a wonderful sight! It is the first airship seen over the city of Chambray. Papa Blériot invites everyone to the cafe. They toast the valiant aeronaut and each other. And César, the brave Jouvet boy, and the pumpkins. Everyone is happy. Do you hear that airship? Everyone but Louis Blériot. Now he has only one wish. He says to his family, I too will build a flying machine, a great white bird. We will work hard. We will all fly through the air like swallows. So here is Blériot 1. So this is the first one they built. No one is small enough to sit in it but Minot, and she will not. It has a little motor to make the wings flap. Alas, it flaps like a chicken. Never mind. So this is their first try at building an airplane. This is more like it. Here is Blériot 2, a glider. Big enough to hold a man. Papa has not yet learned to pilot, so Gabriel Voisin, his good friend, will fly. A motorboat will tow it into the air as the glider has no motor. All is in readiness. Gabriel gives the signal. So here is the second one they build, the glider. I want you to keep these in mind because at the end you are going to create your own airplane. Away roars the motorboat like a great swan. The beautiful glider rises into the air and shoots down into the river with a splash that frightens the fishes. Gabriel Voisin is wet but not hurt. We almost flew. Papa has decided to learn to fly himself. Blériot 3 has a fine motor and propeller, but it will not take off from the water. So Papa gives it 2 motors and 2 propellers to make Blériot 4. Blériot 4 goes in beautiful circles. Papa's learning. So now we've included that motor, okay? That's going to provide that thrust he needs to fly. Blériot 5 hops over the ground like a rabbit. Papa is getting lots of practice. But Blériot 5, it sails across, Blériot 6, flies across, it sails a whole field before it hits a rock. Not so bad. Here the other, this is number 5, this is number 6. And with Blériot 7, Papa has an airplane that really can fly. No matter that the inevitable happens, a slight crash, a broken rib, a black eye, to add to the list of breaks, sprains, and bruises over the past 6 years. Now Papa is a real flyer and the Blériot is a real airplane. How proud Alceste, Charmaine, Suzette, Jeannot, Gabrielle, and Mama are. Only one thing remains to prove how good the airplane is, to show the world what it can do, as if to light the spark. A great prize is offered to the first man to fly across the English Channel. 20 miles wide, black, tossing waves, fog and rain, a very cold bath, a long swim. It is a dangerous prospect, just what Papa likes. I hear the engines. On July 25th, 1909, as the sun rises, Papa Blériot walks with his crutch. A minor flying accident, nothing serious. Out to the field where his plane, Blériot 11, awaits. He kisses Alceste, Charmaine, Suzette, Jeannot, Gabrielle, and Mama Blériot. Papa climbs in the cockpit. His friend Alfred Leblanc spins the propeller. It is 4:35 a.m. It's in the morning. The motor coughs, sputters, roars. Down to the grassy field, Blériot 11 bumps. She picks up speed and suddenly climbs into the sky. The French coast disappears. Far below is the destroyer Escopette, waiting to pick up Papa if his motor fails. If they can find him in time. 10 minutes tick by. The waves reach up to catch the tiny plane. So here's our plane. Look, way down there is the ship. Now there is nothing but swirling fog. No France, no England, no waves. Papa is alone, lost. He sits motionless, not touching the steering lever, and lets the plane go where it will. Suddenly. I wonder what happens next. The white cliffs of Dover flash beneath him. A wonderful moment. 36 minutes after taking off from France, Papa is over England. Papa stops his engine and makes a very bad landing, as usual. Never mind about a broken propeller, Louis Blériot is in England. He flew there in 37 minutes. What a shout goes up. Truly, it was a glorious flight. Okay, so we are going to just get whatever piece of paper you have in your house. So, see, I have a piece of paper. It's got a little tear in it. No biggie. You can either fold it, which I'm going to go ahead and do. To get that tear out of the way. So if you don't have scissors, you can do this as well. Just make sure that you fold it and make a nice flat line using your nail. And then lay it down flat. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I tell my kiddos in my class, I don't like perfect. I don't like perfect. I like everyone to try something different. And that is the wonderful thing about science. So much of it has happened through mistakes. So if you make a mistake, let it go. Okay, so now I have my paper. Looks like this. Doesn't matter if it's longer on one side, shorter. I'm going to go ahead and use the part that I cut right here, and I'm going to make my fold. Now, you can either make your airplane out of paper, or you can get creative, and you can use everything from popsicle sticks to Q-tips to rubber bands, whatever you have in your house. I want you to get creative and make your airplane. But here is a very basic one. So we are going to fold these together. So the point is that you need to make sure these two line up evenly so that this makes a sharp point. So it should look like this, kind of like a house. So what's great about making airplanes is you get to try out some of your engineering. That is what a lot of flying airplanes has, a lot of engineering in it. It's what it's basically about. There is some science, which we talked about with gravity, and we will go over that in just a minute. But right now we have our little fold here. And then to help you keep it straight, fold it in half again like this. Okay, open it back up. And then with this facing up, you are going to make another fold inward, making sure that you make a point. So you are going to line it up like this. And there you go. So there's the folds. Okay, so you did your first fold like this, then your next fold. Very good. And then again, I want you to fold it together. What we're doing is building a memory in the paper. Basically means just like when you do something over and over again, it's easier to remember it. Well, with paper, same thing. We want to continue with those creases so that that fold stays pretty much where you want it. So the next thing we are going to do, we're going to fold it like that. So just how you had it here, you're just going to fold it over on itself. And then lay it like this. And then what I'm going to do, because this is construction paper, it's a little harder to work with, but I can do it. And we are going to fold it back so that this tip here lines up with this. So you're going to fold it back on itself like that, making sure that it's as straight as possible. Okay, we're going to flip it over and do it exactly the same thing on the other side. I'm going to lay mine down just so I have something to work against. Okay. So this is as basic as they come. This is my airplane. Sometimes what I would have my students do is you can either put a small paper clip or just staple it or a piece of tape to hold it together, especially if you want to continuously fly your airplane. What I want you to do is I want you to find whatever you have around your house and think about the different kinds of airplanes we saw in our story. We saw gliders, we saw ones with engines. You're going to be the engine because you are going to provide that thrust, okay? So I want you to build something. You can go ahead and post comments or pictures. Let me know how far your airplane flew. Make sure that you are throwing it where there's nothing around. Make sure it's like in an open field or in your backyard. And once you use measuring tape, so you might need your adult with you to help you with this. So make sure you have a starting point, throw it, and then go ahead and measure how long your airplane went, okay? And remember the rules that we need to fly an airplane. Because we are on planet Earth, we have gravity. So what we need is to provide some thrust, you to push against that gravity and to provide the lift. Now with airplanes, the lift is provided with the engines. Okay, so we are going to be that engine as well. So you will need your thrust to provide that push as well as the lift that you would need if you had an airplane that had engines. That force is what actually makes it go through the air and get past the pull of our gravity. Okay, so this is one project that you can do. Next project, we are going to talk about some other things that have to do with water, our water cycle. We are going to talk about dinosaurs and space. There is lots coming, so please keep an eye out for our YouTube videos, and thank you for joining us, and hopefully we will see you here again. Bye.